Ladies and gentlemen, we're going right back into this in a slowly growing channel that I'm putting together with me and my boys. So this video right here, pretty much, I have to dig myself out in Penguin stuff because I have no Steelers stuff. That's pretty bad. But in a sense, I put out an early video about why I'm a Falcons fan. Go back and go check my channel out, like, subscribe, whatever. If you want to laugh, knock yourself out. But this video right here is for all the Steeler crazies that I have dealt with for the last 30 years in my entire lifetime. Even more than that, because I grew up a Steelers fan. I always watched the black and gold on TV. But the realism and the optimism about how a lot of people believe deep down that the Steelers have an outside shot to make the AFC Championship game because you guys have the weapons and whatnot. Guys, remember where you come from. We're going to figure this out together. This video is for you, the Steeler fans. Wave those towels, play Renegade, and here we go, Steeler Nation. Let's get to work. Now, I have dug myself in for the last, like I said, 20, 30 some years of my life, knowing that I grew up a Steelers fan, but then as I focus on other stuff and do other things, I represent well. My goal for basically is pretty much, I still am, in a way of speaking, regardless that I am a Falcons fan, I am a Steelers fan. I just want them to succeed. It's like one of those things where you want something to succeed even though you don't have a whole heart into it. Brothers and sisters, I have watched them win at least 2 or 3 Super Bowls in my life. Some of them I don't even remember. I was born in '75 when they won their first one. I really don't know a whole heck of a lot about them. I really didn't even know a whole heck of a lot of what Terry Bradshaw did in those boys back in the days. But I do remember Ben winning the 2, and I semi-remember the Rose Bowl win in 1980, but it's far beyond. Now, how we do that? Let's figure out exactly all the bias of the Steeler Nation, because quite honestly, in my personal opinion, there's 32 teams in the NFL. If the Steelers are not a top 5 fan base in America, that's criminal, because quite honestly, it's one of the most traditional, and it's not necessarily just because of the terrible towel face. Trust me, the Steelers are in fact an American team. It's one of the craziest stories where the one time they played the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl and they wanted to mark them America's team. And I can't remember the story. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I can't remember off the top of my head, but one guy specifically said, "We're not America's team. We're the Pittsburgh Steelers." That sounds like blue collar to me. The Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the biggest blue-collar brands in the entire, not necessarily the NFL, but the entire world of North American sports. They've always been big. They don't do things the way they normally should do. They're always, like I said, blue-collar. They don't do a lot of trades. They don't do a lot of major business and signing major deals and whatever. That was the different time frame that we led to in this entire world. And when you go through only 3 coaches in the last half a century, you go through Chuck Noll, you go through Bill Cowher, now you're going to go through Mike Tomlin, which is one of the longest reigning coaches in this business, and he's probably one of the best coaches in front of a mic, hands down, and that's not even arguable. Folks, if you believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go to the AFC Championship game or at least win the division, you're not necessarily out of the wrong. But the AFC, as I have proven many times, or at least in the one AFC video that I just recently did, they have a gauntlet to go through. The Pittsburgh Steelers have probably a mid-class schedule this year. And you could go about the schedule however you want. But they have the pieces to go with it. Now you know the next generation is here. Kenny Pickett's in the house. Kenny Pickett went to Pitt. He's worked in the same buildings. He's played in the same building. This is his house now. And a lot of people weren't really crazy that the Pittsburgh Steelers wanted to go in-house in a way to go get their next generation quarterback. And now Ben Roethlisberger has kind of adapted and has embraced Kenny Pickett in his recent podcast about a month and a half, 2 months ago, maybe longer than that, saying this kid's going to be a pretty darn good catch. And he showed that last year, winning 6 of 8 in the last half of that season. They all don't have to be perfect. This kid very well might throw 300 yards he could very well be the next savior for the next 10, 15 years. It's very highly possible. Now, the pieces that he has around him is going to be the big catch, because these pieces need to go against the pieces that Cleveland has, that Baltimore just picked up. Lamar Jackson got his money. They've just picked up Odell Beckham. They have a new offensive coordinator. Will the Baltimore Ravens be as tough as they always have been now with a new offense? Will the Cleveland Browns, with a change, if Deshaun Watson comes back to form, you still have Nick Chubb, you still have a top 10 offensive line, you still have a couple good weapons, Amari Cooper, and I think the Peoples kid, that one, Demari Peoples, whatever his name, yeah, he's the other good wide receiver they have. Cleveland has a probably top 10 roster in the league, but no one's counting them. But they're in the AFC North. That's why you throw them in there. And then nobody wants to forget about Cincinnati, because they are, in fact, a top 3 team in the AFC and could very well be that team to knock off Kansas City if Joe Burrow and that particular group of wide receivers and that offense, who could very well be a top 5 offense. Pittsburgh has to go through those people, has to go through those 3 teams in their own division, which they basically could punch each other in the mouth so many times and actually say, it's football. It's AFC North football. It's blue collar. It's punch in the mouth. We've been like this forever and ever and ever about these teams. Let's figure this out, because you've got Kenny Pickett. You've got Najee Harris. Now you've got yourself probably, arguably, a very, very cynical and very, very dangerous group of wide receivers. You got Pickens. You just picked up Allen Robinson. Is Deontay Johnson going to be the guy? Calvin Austin didn't play last year. Now he's going to play. You need Pat Freiermuth from Penn State. That man is that guy was supposed to take over for Heath Miller. Can he do it? Can he really, really do it? You now went off and also got a good offensive lineman from Georgia. And Georgia has a boatload of people. You go after those people. George Pickens is a Georgia Bulldog. And then you go to your defense, and you know T.J. Watt is going to be the guy down there. You know he's going to be that anchor, because they don't very, very, very often lose when T.J. Watt plays. Cameron Hayward is there, and you may have one of the best secondaries, because you just went and you have Minkah Fitzpatrick. You just went out and you drafted Joey Porter Jr. You just got Patrick Peterson to help out into the long run. This team could very well be dangerous, but they start the year with the San Francisco 49ers at home at 1 o'clock. And Nick Bosa just got signed, so he's playing. This is a whole entire world that we're going to live in with the Steelers. If you believe deep down they can make this run, check this out. I mean, really, you host the 49ers. Then you got a Monday night game with Cleveland. You go to Vegas to take on the Raiders. You go to Houston to take on the Texans. Sunday, on the October 8th, you get the Ravens at home, and then you get your bye early. So you get your bye early, then you're going to go back to the West Coast to take on the Rams. And then go figure, you're going to have a 3-game homestand with quite potentially one of the most dangerous teams that could very well be, and that's Jacksonville. You get them on the 29th. You get a Thursday night game with the Titans, and then you get a good 10 days to tackle Jordan Love and the Packers. Then 2 on the road, at Cleveland, at Cincinnati, back-to-back. And then, you have to host Arizona. Have fun with that one. You get that, and then you get a Thursday night battle with Belichick and the Patriots. And then going into December 17th, you go to Indianapolis. You have December 23rd, you host the Bengals late. And then that's your last home game because you have to be on the road for the last two. And you have to go to Seattle and you have to go to Baltimore to end the season. I don't have the nerve or the actual gall to like burn through this schedule, but it's a possibility. It's a 10-7, 11-6, very possibly. You have a favorable schedule. The AFC pretty much has given you the AFC South in your division. You also have the NFC West. You have to deal with the 49ers and a Rams rebuild, a Cardinals reconstruction, and you still got to deal with Seattle. Nobody knows what they're going to be by the end of the season with Geno Smith. Guys, you Steeler fans, I've had to deal with you people in my old retail work. And those people, it was the nuttiest things. They come in and, I also find it funny. I'd be working NFL weekends and there'd be people in the mall wearing their Steelers stuff, not watching the game. That's too hilarious, and it still is to this day. And people that I used to work with still to this day agree with me. They wonder, like, do we have the game on? No, we had them on the radio in the back room. The company that I used to work with, hint, hint, we won't go there until a certain video later, but if it's a multi-billion-dollar company, we should have the games on our TVs, but we didn't have TVs. So we had to force ourselves to try to high wire our radio system and our audio system to try to play the game on the radio and hear the Pittsburgh Sports Network. And we'd have a handful of people sitting on benches just trying to listen to the game and just try to hear everything that's going on, because we know Pittsburgh faithful, they are looking for the next phase, for the next 10 years, to figure out if this team is going to compete for a Super Bowl. When you realize Patrick Mahomes is going to run this league like Brady did if he gets his way. Some people are already starting to say that he's being a little bit because he started turning down interviews and started not turning down interviews, but he started turning away autographs at training camp. It's great. It's okay. He's got a weird wife, and I still don't think he was hurt in the Super Bowl. You've got a handful of teams in the AFC that they have to deal with if they get to the playoffs. My immediate pick right now is I think they get one of the last two wild cards in the business. It's going to be tough because there's going to be because the AFC is the toughest conference. It is going to be a bloodbath. Everybody's going to knock on everybody, even if there are teams that are probably not even going to be in it. We don't know how good the Patriots are going to be, how good the Dolphins are going to be, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, how good the whatever Chargers are going to be. Is Russell Wilson going to be good in Denver? It is going to be an absolute mess all over the place. And they have to beat those teams in the AFC South as well, because nobody knows how good Houston is going to be. If Tennessee, they got pieces, but they don't know is their quarterback going to play right? Nobody knows. Steeler Nation, this is for you. Continue to run the blue blood type of deal that you run. Do your things. Play Renegades. Wave those towels. I'm for it. I've never been to an NFL game. Right hand up to God, whatever you want to call it. But I've seen Acrisure / I will always be Heinz Field to me. Trust me. But I assure you this. I will always respect Steeler Nation. This area, boatload of Steeler fans, boatload of Steeler bars. You can go anywhere in the world. You can go to the highest. I guarantee you there could be a remote bar in Iceland and there's Steeler fans there. Trust me, they're everywhere. Just like any other bar in America that is a Homer bar, or they were growing up as Steeler fans or whatever fans. I am assuring that this is going to be a very, very interesting season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody, and they're like, it's not a redneckish type of issue. Every team in this league has some sort of banter toward the certain fans that they have. The Steeler fans can be one of the best fans in America. They can also be the most annoying, just like the Cowboys, just like the Eagles, just like the Patriots, just like the Packers, the Bears, any other big-time NFL team with a huge fan base. They're always going to say they're the best. They're always going to be criticized as one of the worst. Pittsburgh's always going to be there. But as long as we always continue to say, Pittsburgh fans are as true to their nation. They're the only city they're the only sports city in the entire freaking North America where all their teams run black and gold. The Pirates have their World Series. The Penguins have their 5 cups. The Steelers still have 6 Super Bowl Lombardi trophies. They're looking for 7. So if you are a true Steeler homer, I think you could probably put a good bet down the road. There will be a 7th Super Bowl in the next 10 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know about 5, but 10 down the road if Kenny Pickett continues to play and they hold on to these people, I have true faith the city of Pittsburgh is going to be totally fine. And the Steeler fans and Steeler Nation, I respect you. I wish you well. And trust me, you've got a friend in me, even though he's a Falcons fan. But I truly believe deep down, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers and Pittsburgh Steeler Nation are going to be very, very entertained this year. You like what you see. You like what you're hearing. You like the banter I like to go, chuck a like down there. Subscribe if you want to see some more. But trust me, when this is all said and done and over with, I think I like the direction that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going. I'm getting out of here because I might go to bed early. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, bar's closed.